is 400 meters below sea level. If we take in consideration the depths of the Dead Sea at the northern end of it, is another 400. That means the bottom of the Dead Sea is 800 meters below sea level.
Wow.
That means the drop from Jerusalem to the bottom of the Dead Sea is 1,600 meters, which is a mile drop. Then from the Dead Sea, we go further east on the Moab Heights, which are almost 900 meters above sea level. In other words, look at me. If I have to draw a graph right through the width of the country, it's sea level, Jerusalem, which in our case today is the Continental Divide, and then down to the Dead Sea, and up again on the Moab Heights. These 4 points on my graph are the 4 most important roads cutting through the length of the country. That's what made it the only passable road or country. What's a passable road? Every 15, 20 kilometers there's a water hole, because anything that moved at the time was organic. The animals, the people, anything. So there's people would tend to you, whether it's an army or a caravan, there's someone who will take care of you, right? So I can quote, remember when Abraham sends his servant Elazar to find a bride for Isaac. So the first thing Rebecca says to him is, I'll give you water and then I'll take care of your camels, right? So that's the 4 roads. The 4 roads are the Via Maris, that's where we are on, the road of the sea. In fact, we are walking on the footsteps of Peter from Jaffa to Caesarea, where he met the righteous Roman centurion of the Italian, right, Cornelius,
Yeah.
right, and all the events. And in fact, the Via Maris is all around the Dead Sea, if you can visualize the Mediterranean, sorry, from Tangier, Spanish Morocco, back to Cadiz, Spain. Then we have the Patriarch roads, from the Oaks of Moreh to the Oaks of Mamre, from Nablus to Hebron, and then further down into the Sinai Peninsula. That's known as the Road of the Patriarchs. But not only the Road of the Patriarchs. Remember, the New Testament tells us, and this time Jesus decided to walk through Samaria, and what happened? He met the Samaritan woman next to, she was seated by the Jacob's well.
Yeah.
So we have an extraordinary event there. A man talking to a woman, and a Jew talking to a Samaritan woman.
Yeah.
Again, take it as is. I don't want to elaborate on it. But that's there just to give you the way people in and out, right? The 3rd road, the Valley Road, right? That's where John baptized Jesus in the River Jordan. The 4th road is the King's Road. In fact, the entrance to the King's Road, many people don't know it, is Caesarea Philippi, because it's beyond the Jordan, or one of the sources of the Jordan, because the scripture tells us Jesus was famous not only in Perea, Galilee, Phoenicia, Decapolis, and it says beyond the Jordan, which is the country of King Hussein today. So these are the 4 roads. Important to know, for instance, if you're a pharaoh, Ramses II, and you wanted to attack a Mesopotamian king, right? Let's say Hammurabi, they didn't live in the same time, I'm just giving an example, right? If you a shortcut, you go down from what is now Luxor, down to the Red Sea, you cross the Red Sea, you're in the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, it's a shortcut. But if you do that, you lose your army within less than 10 days. No water, no trade routes, nothing. And therefore, this is the only way to walk from Egypt to Mesopotamia, which were the 2 superpowers. And that's why, fortunately or unfortunately, we had all the conquerors that conquered Egypt, Mesopotamia, visiting us up and down, and we do not want to go through history, but from the Neolithic period down to the British Mandate, or up to the British Mandate. So we're now along the Via Maris, on the way to Caesarea. We are in the Sharon Valley. Now, the Sharon, as I said, It means fertility, wood, goodness in ancient Egyptians, the language. Everything went off well here until 1517 when the Turks came in. They conquered the land, and the first thing they did, they expelled the people that were living here out. And in no time, this became one of the most dangerous malaria-infected swamp. And in order to understand it, again, let's go back to geomorphology. The formation of this valley, which is 50 kilometers long, 3 lines of sand dunes cutting through the lengths of the country, through the lengths of the valley. And you have 3 lines of sand dunes running parallel to each other along the lengths of the valley. You get 2 valleys. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, when there were people here consuming the water, there was no problem. The water running, or like today, the rain falling on the continental divide running to the Mediterranean, they used it. But once they chased everybody out of here, they cut the woods. The water came down here, stagnant water, malaria, troubles. And then 1897, the Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland, where the Jews took 2 major decisions. One, to bring Jews back to Zion, Israel. Second, they established a company called the Jewish National Fund, and they asked the Jews the world over to collect money to buy lands in Israel. Once they had enough money, they sent 2 men to buy lands in Israel. The names are not going to say anything to you. One is Menachem Oshitskin, the other one is Joshua Hankin. And the Arabs or the Turks wouldn't sell them the good lands. You want to buy the land? Buy the swamp. And they did. The swamps of Chula, the swamps of Jezreel, the swamp of the Sharon. And then we had, after the pogroms, many Jews coming here. Many Jews lived on islands within the swamps. People were dying of malaria. There was an urgent need to drain the swamp. Now, if you read the guidebooks from Israel, they'll tell you we imported eucalyptuses, planted it in, and that solved the problem. That's partly true. What we did, we learned from the Romans. Old Roman water engineering system. We found out that the Eastern Valley is higher than the Western Valley. We dug tunnels under the middle sand dune, guiding the water with gravity from east to west and down to the Mediterranean. Places in both valleys that were below sea level, we planted the eucalyptuses. And by the way, the eucalyptus needs a lot of water. It sucks the water into the trunk and sprayed eucalyptus oil in the air, killing the Anopheles mosquitoes. So within 20 years, we drained the swamp, and that's the end result. It's a breadbasket. We're now driving further up, and we'll be passing by Caesarea. Sorry, Netanya. Caesarea is further up. Netanya, there's an interesting story here. In 1934, again, I'm sorry I'm giving you my back, but I have Captain Yossi here. He's not happy when I'm standing up. And he's right. So, 1934, a group of Jewish pioneers called B'nai Benjamin laid the foundation stone to the first house, the cornerstone. That's when they learned it was the birthday of a great American Jewish philanthropist, Mr. Nathan Strauss, that together with his older brother Isidore were the owners of Macy's. They sent him a cable, remember there were no emails, and wishing him happy birthday. P.S. waiting for donations. He did send money in honor of Isidore that drowned with the Titanic. Since Nathan donated the money, they named the place Netanya. Netanya is the narrowest spot in the country right now, and used to be, from what is called now Area A in Samaria, which is the city of Tulkarem, to the Mediterranean, 9 miles. The industrial zone of Netanya, and right here, the new soccer stadium of the team, the Netanya team. And let me tell you, bad luck. Since they inaugurated this building, they keep on losing.
Like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. And you know, football or soccer in Israel it's not sport anymore. Every third game, the referee goes out of there on a stretcher. They become very familiar with you. They mention your mother and father, and they're very nice.
They're very nice.
Netanya. You will see further up a railway on your right-hand side. This railway is very important, built in 1943 by the Anzac forces. Anzac, the New Zealanders, and the Australian troops, part of the British troops deployed in Palestine. The engineering corps of these two, let's say the regiments, built this railway from Beirut, Lebanon to Alexandria, Egypt. And later on it became one of the extensions of the famous Trans-Orient. Netanya to the left. Well, we are on our way to Caesarea Maritima. The day after tomorrow, we're going to be in Caesarea Philippi, or Philippus. And by the way, Netanya meaning God's gift, right? And our Prime Minister, he thinks he's God's gift. Netanyahu, right? And he's okay. He's the custodians of the land of Israel. Yeah? One of the most difficult jobs in the world.
Yes, it's true. God bless him.
The easiest thing is to go along with everyone who says, oh, if you give back the land, they'll leave you alone and things like this.
That's not true.
Listen, he's in a very delicate situation now between Jerusalem and the White House. They don't see eye to eye to many of the problems, to say it in a very delicate way.
Yes.
But his job is to protect the land of Israel and its inhabitants.
Amen.
It's not the first time that they had arguments. I remember Prime Minister Shamir. With Bush, the father, they didn't agree with each other. Anyhow, it's hailing.